Right from the other side of the pond. We got some chants, and we're gonna kick off our program, y'all. Are you ready? You're gonna have to work with me here. This is some Damn, I love y'all. Who here came to visit Orlando? Who here traveled to Orlando? Be still my heart. Oh, whoa, oh my God. Let's try, we wanna try something different. How about this side? Can y'all say people? Power? A little bit more. Power? Y'all, they were better, just so y'all know. Beautiful. One more time, y'all. One more time. When I say people, you say power. More. I'm going to say, show me what something looks like. And you're going to say, this is what it looks like. Okay? Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what Orlando looks like. Show me what Orlando, Florida looks like. Show me what Florida looks like. Show me what America looks like. Show me what. This one is especially for William, by the way. And nurture him. He's our special guest. We got one more for y'all. I'm going to say it first, and then you're going to say it with me. Okay, you ready? And this Donald Trump, you're not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump, you're not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it. Energy, everything you got. All right, I want to hear it. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. Ready for one more? One more, y'all. Say it loud. Say it clear. Donald Trump's not welcome here. From our community, from our state, directly impacted by this man's abhorrent, dangerous, reckless, and corrupt policies. Let's get started. Orlando! How are you? Orlando this evening. Okay, I'm just saying, was Erica Roberts not fucking fabulous? She's incredible. And I also have to call out something else. How many of you brought an umbrella or a poncho or a jacket? Yeah, so we made a phone call up above and we said, listen, we got a love rally, you got to cut it out. And if you notice, it's all around us, but nowhere here. Now the reason why we're here. Just 3 blocks away, one of the most hateful individuals in this country is planning to announce his re-election campaign. Ooh. 1 week after the 3rd annual remembrance of the Pulse nightclub shooting, on the eve of Juneteenth, the annual recognition commemorating the end of slavery, during LGBTQ Pride Month, Immigrant Heritage Month, 1 year honoring, 1 year awfully remembering the Supreme Court decision to uphold the Muslim ban, Donald Trump has chosen to come to Orlando to continue to spread his hate. What do we think about that? Tonight, Floridians are taking to the streets, people from all over our state, to show up in resistance, to show in solidarity, and to show up in love. Tonight we're going to be centering marginalized communities, each that have been impacted by this awful president and his horrible policies. Leaders from the LGBTQ community, the Latinx community, the Black community, immigrants and working people, Muslim community leaders, youth leaders advocating for the prevention of gun violence,
Hurricane Maria survivors, disability rights advocates, advocates for safe and legal abortions, those with health care disparities, and all of the intersections among us. Tonight, we are coming together with the goal of celebrating incredible leaders who are going to tell their truth, share their stories, and let Orlando and the world know that we stand united with love and in resistance to hate. With love. Win with love. Win with love. Woo! We have incredible speakers lined up, and in fact, our first group are individuals who have been working with the Puerto Rican community. It is a coalition of Latino, Latina, and Latinx organizations all across the state of Florida who are coming together united against bigotry, against oppression, and against hate. Please put your hands together for the coalition.
Good afternoon, Orlando. Deputy Director of Faith in Florida Communities. Family crisis that was created by the... It is a set, a few months, and been constant attack here. And this of faith and good conscience need to stand up against hate. United against hate. And I'm here today with you, 3 different pastors that have dealt directly with our impacted communities. I'm going to stand introducing Father José Rodríguez.
Buenas tardes. My name is Padre José Rodríguez, and I have a church here in Orlando. And I just want to say one message before I get started. We know that love wins because love has already won, and you being here today, standing together with all of us for our community. 2,975 people lost their lives on my island of Puerto Rico because of mismanagement, because of knowing that you cared about them. You care about them and all the families who've been displaced. And together, we will lift up our voices and say, no más, no more. We will lift up our voices, our hands and our feet, and we will be the difference. And we will not let the same hate and neglect that affected Puerto Rico touch anyone else in our community, from our immigrants, no más.
El presidente Trump es la de racismo, discrimen y explotación de nuestro pueblo y especialmente el pueblo latino. Pero es triste saber también que los blancos evangélicos lo llevaron al poder donde están. Muchos cristianos lo llevaron también donde él está. Pero aquí está la comunidad de fe presente para decir, tenemos una voz profética, tenemos una voz de denuncia, tenemos una voz que anuncia que justicia, anuncia que igualdad, anuncia que humanismo. Y sin ese humanismo no hay ningún Dios. Y el Dios que nosotros tenemos es un Dios libertador, un Dios que hace presencia en nuestro pueblo y nuestra comunidad. Por ello estamos aquí nosotros en esta parte llamada vigilia, lo que sea, pero dar testimonio de lo que es la verdad, y la verdad es la que nos hará libres a cada uno de nosotros, libres en todos los sentidos. La comunidad de fe somos nosotros, traemos un mensaje liberador, traemos un mensaje de justicia, traemos un mensaje de igualdad, traemos un mensaje de amor, de paz y de felicidad. Encontré unas palabras muy inspiradoras en un escrito que dice así: la esperanza es desear que logremos algo. La fe es creer que se va a poder llevar a cabo. Y hay que tener la valentía para que eso suceda. Consigna, fe, esperanza y valentía. Y termino con una oración de Mahatma Gandhi que dice: Señor, ayúdame a decir la verdad delante de los fuertes y no decir mentiras para ganarme el aplauso de los débiles. Si me das fortuna, no me quites la razón. Si me das éxito, no me quites la humildad. Si me das humildad, no me quites la dignidad. Fe, esperanza, valentía para la justicia que prevalezca y se logre el cambio que tiene que ocurrir en esta nación en estos momentos. Si Él comienza lo suyo, nosotros continuamos haciendo ese mensaje de libertad, de amor y de paz. Amén.
¿A dónde está mi gente? Yeah, man, we got a delusional president, don't we? No, he's not well. My mother taught me something when I was a kid. She said, son, sometimes with God, a little love and respect and sincerity goes a long way. But we got a president who never learned that. Never learned basic stuff. That's why you see him here as a kid. He's never learned it. With God and people, a little sincerity goes a long way because it's about being true. This president has a problem with truth, but he says that everything we do is fake. Now you tell me, is it true or is it fake that hundreds of young boys and girls are in cage right now? Is that true? True. Oh, that's true. Is it true or not, or are we being delusional? That 2,975 Puerto Rican Americans were wiped out, almost equivalent to what happened in 9/11, and yet we are treated with as second-grade citizens. We cannot even vote for the presidential election. We can't even trade diplomatic. It's true. Of course it's true. And so we have a president who forgets. Maybe it's because he's amnesia. Maybe he had the ceiling too low, and when they threw him up to catch him, the ceiling was too short and it hit him in the head. We don't know, but what we do know is that we will not tolerate this any longer. That as a person of faith, my prayer, and I want to take at least 10 seconds for silence in a second, that my prayer is that we move beyond this I win, you lose, you're right, I'm wrong, you're black, you're white, you're gay, you're straight. And this way of marginalizing people by creating enemies and causing us to constantly conflict. We need to move beyond a new democracy that is able to see the humanity of all people, our marginalized people, those that are caught in the fringes of society, those on the periphery, those who have no voice. Let's take 10 seconds, queridos, and pause to remember those that have been the victims of this administration, the boys and the girls, children who are crying for their parents in cages, people in Puerto Rico who all they received were paper towels. Let's take the time, 10 seconds, and pause and remember why we're here. We lift ourselves to you, O God of all humanity. You, O God, who does not see black and white, Jew or Greek, male or female, Puerto Rican, gray, straight. You see us all as your children. We ask, oh God, that you would move us into a place that resembles closer to your intention of how you want human beings to be. May we be the vanguard of that mission. Amen. Adelante.
Good evening, beautiful people. I'm here, I'm Crisia Lopez Arce, and I'm going to represent my island, Puerto Rico, so I'm going to do my speech in Spanish. Con Puerto Rico en el corazón, okay. Con Puerto Rico en el corazón, patria se hace donde sea, y hoy nos toca defender a nuestra isla, a nuestra gente latina y a nuestros hermanos inmigrantes que viven en Florida y en todo el país.
In our hearts, today we must come before you and defend our island, defend the honor and the love of the people of Puerto Rico that are here in Florida and across the country.
Como sobreviviente del huracán María, no puedo catalogar como exitosa su respuesta a este desastre cuando viví en carne propia los estragos por la falta de sensibilidad y trato humano por la parte de la administración de Trump.
I cannot say that the Trump administration responded accordingly to the disaster in Puerto Rico. I lived it in my own flesh, and we were treated with neglect. We were not given the support that we needed.
María es uno de los muchos ejemplos en donde Trump demostró su crueldad y cero compasión.
Maria is a demonstration of Trump's cruelty and his lack of compassion.
Mientras personas morían y la isla carecía de servicios básicos y comunicación,
Well, people died and the people didn't have any basic services or communication.
la respuesta de Trump fue no tomar acción, ser irónico, egocentrista, porque él consideraba esta alta cifra de muertos un ataque en su contra, una mentira en contra de su administración.
His response was no response. He was ironic. He was egocentric. He blamed this in Puerto Ricans trying to make him guilty and his administration of everything that happened.
Hoy honramos todas esas vidas. Estamos aquí por ellos, por nosotros y por nuestras familias.
Today we honor all those lives. We're here for them, for ourselves, for all of our families.
Vivimos bajo un gobierno que ha demostrado que tiene como agenda el acoso, el odio y la discriminación contra minorías.
We are under a government that has as an agenda hate, discrimination, and the harassment of minorities.
Orlando y la Florida Central es nuestro hogar. Y aquí no recibimos a quien desprecia y destruye a nuestra gente.
Orlando in Central Florida is our home, and here we will not welcome those who despise and mistreat our people.
Nuestra comunidad es amor, respeto y igualdad. So let's vote in this 2020. Please, let's get out and vote. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. My name is Jimmy Torres and I am the president of Boricua Vota. Boricua is a name that we use for Puerto Ricans, and it was the name of the island when the Indians, before the Spaniards, came to Puerto Rico. So that's Boricua. When you hear Boricua, you hear Puerto Ricans. Boricua. So I'm here just to pledge with you that we have 1.3 million Puerto Ricans live in Florida, and we're gonna make everything in our heart, in our soul, in our bodies to get the people out to vote. If you don't forget about us, forget about those 3,000 people that die in Puerto Rico, we will vote with you, work with you, fight with you in unity, because it's only one race, the human race. And here in this rally, we respect the human race. In the other rally, they are disgraced. They're trying to do the wrong thing. Not one time, not sometimes, almost all the time. In reality, the people that are following Donald Trump and they call themselves Latinos, they should be ashamed of themselves. Because people are dying because of his policy. And we are tired of that, and we're going to change that all together. Thank you very much.
Boy, this isn't for the vertically challenged, is it? I got up on my toes for you. Buenas noches. Si eres latino, alza tu bandera. Raise those flags. From up here, we can feel your power, your strength, Orlando. My name is Nancy Rosado, and with me is Ricardo Negron. We are activists, people of color, and members of both the Puerto Rican and LGBTQ communities. Together, we represent everything this administration despises. Its policies have directly impacted us, those we love, and those we advocate for. On June 16, 2016, when a madman entered an LGBTQ safe space right here in Orlando and took 49 lives that were predominantly Hispanic and African American, the man who won the election that fall congratulated himself on being right about terrorism, but did nothing for our community. This year marked the third commemoration of Pulse Massacre, and again, he did not offer condolences or word of support to the survivors or the Pulse families. Instead, he brings his hate-fueled campaign and followers to Orlando, a city still healing from a very deep wound. On September 20th, 2017, Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico. The individual who is coming to the Amway tonight responded by throwing paper towels at us, denying the number of estimated deaths, insisting there was only 6 to 18 deaths that were hurricane related, and he denied those on the island. Further, much more needed aid until this past June. An estimated 3,000 of our fellow Puerto Ricans died, including my cousin, who was denied access to the USS Comfort and was bounced from medical facility to medical facility. 3,000 deaths equal his failing our people 3,000 times. How much longer will we endure this level of incompetence until we, as Boricuas and all other Hispanics, unite and vote him out? Tonight, we stand united with all communities, immigrants, Muslims, women, Haitians, African American, everyone, and we ask you all to treat this man the same way the LGBTQ community treats the man who perpetrated that hateful crime at Pulse, and never speak his name again after tonight. Stay strong, Orlando.
Buenas tardes, Orlando. I want you all to look at each other, because when that man tries to destroy our communities and take everything from us, we are all that we have to fight against him. ¿Dónde está mi gente latina? Hace 3 años, cuando masacraron a nuestra comunidad aquí, este hombre lo que hizo fue felicitarse a sí mismo porque estaba bien sobre qué era lo que iba a pasar con el terrorismo. Se felicitó a él y no hizo nada por nuestra gente. Al contrario, su administración se ha dedicado constantemente a atacar a la comunidad LGBT día tras día tras día. Cuando ocurre el huracán María, 3,000 puertorriqueños y puertorriqueñas murieron a causa de su inacción, a causa de que un mequetrefe como presidente y de que no le importamos. Así que, ¿qué vamos a hacer con el mequetrefe presidente? Lo vamos a sacar. No es suficiente estar aquí hoy. Hay que votar. Si te puedes inscribir a votar, hazlo. Y en las elecciones del año que viene, sal y vótalo. ¡Para afuera!
Good afternoon, Orlando. Hi, good afternoon, Orlando. I'm State Senator Victor Torres, District 15. I represent the largest Hispanic Puerto Rican community between Orlando and Osceola County, and I'm here before you. I don't hear you. This is the time, that's why we're here, that's why you're here, to have our voices heard over there, to let 45 know this is it for him, no more. We're gonna vote him out of office. This is what you gotta do. As a Puerto Rican from New York, and my family's from Ponce, Puerto Rico, let me tell you, the tragedies that we have happened in our island, but it continues here in Florida, because look at the folks in the Panhandle. Look at those families in the Panhandle, Panama City, how they're suffering as well. They're not getting help from anybody. So it's not just Puerto Rico that is not getting any help, but right here in Florida, they're not helping us. So you need to get energized. If you're from Miami, from Hillsborough, from Fort Lauderdale, from West Palm Beach, from Tallahassee, from wherever you're here today, make it happen. Make it happen. What does my shirt say? Say it again. Say it again. I love you, Florida.
Hello, Orlando. How's everybody doing? My name is Gabriela de Jesus. I am the president and founder of the Puerto Rican Student Association at FIU. Through our hard work, we were able to help 250 students who came from Puerto Rico with in-state tuition so that they could have their tuition waived till summer of 2022. But today, I stand here to represent our younger generations, our students, our Latino community, and our democracy. As a Latina woman of Puerto Rican and Dominican heritage, I believe in reproductive and basic human rights. Today I stand here to remind each and everybody that while Trump has shown us the weaknesses of our democracy by assaulting women's rights, by tearing Latino families apart, and by delaying and denying the help to the island of Puerto Rico, he has also helped us encourage young Americans and Latinos to respond by becoming advocates for a better future for every citizen of the United States of America. We must continue until we ensure prosperity for each and every one of us, regardless of our color, our gender, religion, sexual orientation, and race. In this diverse country, we must unite our differences and promote growth through innovation, through cultural diversity and inclusiveness. En la unión está la fuerza.
Thank you so much. We actually have to start talking, introduce some additional activists with the disability community. Do you have? Okay.
Yeah, we want to say that Tampa is in here, and I'm representing Tampa. So this is not only Orlando, my people. I'm in here to tell Mr. President Donald Trump, I'm a U.S. citizen. I live in here for 26 years, and I vote. Your negligent action made that more than 10 members of my family died in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. As the first commander of this nation, you're supposed to be activating military action to serve Puerto Rico and create relief in an effective way, but you didn't. Now, with the diaspora assistance, we have 300 Puerto Ricans that moved to the mainland, and we want to let you know that our votes count, and your votes, our votes are against you. Is that correct, my people? Excellent. Donna, you don't have my vote. I'm voting against you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. My name is David Thomas Moran, and I am a gun violence survivor. I'm a gay man, and I also am a person with disabilities. I am hard of hearing, and I am also have ADHD, two invisible disabilities. And I'm so honored to introduce two incredible disability activists here in Central Florida, in the state of Florida. Tiffany Elizabeth Namey, who is the Orange County Disability Caucus Chair, and Carol Jones, who is part of ADAPT Florida.
My name is Tiffany Elizabeth Namey. I'm a second-generation Lebanese American and was born and raised here in Central Florida. At the age of 14, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. My condition requires me to take medication that prevents seizures but I currently fall into the healthcare coverage gap and I do not have insurance. If it was not for the aid of the Epilepsy Association of Central Florida, I would not be able to access affordable treatment for my epilepsy. No American, whether with disabilities or not, should have to face this dilemma. I am also a survivor of domestic violence. This is not uncommon for people with disabilities who are often at risk of being abused or neglected by intimate partners, families, and caregivers. Safe, high quality, and affordable healthcare accommodations and services are a human right. The Trump administration seeks to undermine access to healthcare and dismantle the Americans with Disabilities Act. We are here to say to Trump, hell no. Disability rights are human rights.
Hi, I'm Carol Jones, and as someone who has worked for and with the disability community for over 45 years, I've seen the backlash of budget cuts for people with disabilities. I've worked in many institutions and nursing homes and have seen the horror plaguing our system with these cuts. As a member of National Adapt, I work for equality, positive change in policy and programs to do with people with disabilities. To ensure that people with disabilities, such as my husband Doug, who is a Vietnam veteran, who suffers from mobility issues as well as a hearing impairment and post-traumatic stress disorder, have the same civil rights as all Americans and enjoy all that comes with the rights. Living in their community, getting jobs, paying taxes, and the many more basic needs of everyone. And it would be lost with the budget cuts opposed by Donald Trump.
Over 50 million Americans currently live with disabilities in this country. Over 2.6 million in Florida alone. These span every age, immigration status, race, skin color, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, religion, and creed.
We are a vibrant community, a diverse people comprised of a beautiful spectrum of lived experiences, identity, and self-expression. Our disabilities do not define us, nor will they defeat us. We also desire to be fully engaged citizens who exercise our right to vote and, of course, to protest, especially protest Donald Trump. The people united will never be defeated.
Together, we need to defend the disability community from the Trump administration and protect the Americans with Disabilities Act. Together, we need to believe people with disabilities when they request accommodations and services and provide them. Together, we need to work harder to ensure that rallies and protests like this one are fully accessible to the disability community. Together, we need to hold each other
and our elected officials accountable to center disability voices in policy decisions that directly impact our accommodations and services. Nothing about us without us. Disability rights are civil rights.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Tiffany and Carol. And I'm so thrilled and honored to introduce our next two speakers, JJ and Allison. I'll say that as a young person, it was just as difficult for me to come out as a gay man as it was to come out as a person with disabilities. And JJ, he sent a message, he said he'd like to be introduced, and he's an extraordinary young man who exceeds anything that I ever done at his age. He's a disability activist who uses a communication device to talk. Even though he cannot walk, he's always 10 steps ahead of everyone else, and despite being in a wheelchair, he will always stand up to hate. JJ and his mom, Allison.
Hi. Okay, speaking in public fills me the sort of dread you get when you give someone your phone to show them a picture, and then without asking, they start swiping through, looking at all your photos. So please bear with me. My name is Alison Holmes, although I'm mostly known as JJ's mum, as well as Laurie's mum and Grace's mum. I'm a very proud, naturalized US citizen. But, unfortunately, since November the 8th, 2016, I'm a mother who's worried sick as I've watched Republicans try to dismantle healthcare. I've also watched in absolute horror as Donald Trump and his Republican flunkies try to strip away all the protections for pre-existing conditions that Democrats fought so hard to provide us with. Trump is slashing and squeezing Medicaid funding, ending many disability services, and removing safeguards for the most vulnerable communities that, let's face it, are easy targets for him. And if I speak out in protest, I'm accused of being a left-wing extremist. For crying out loud, I'm a middle-aged woman with 3 kids. I actually voted Conservative in the UK. Yet the GOP has veered so far to the right as they chase behind Trump that I now personify their idea of a left-wing extremist. Really? JJ is fortunate to be mainstreamed at our local high school with typical students, and that's thanks to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Now, despite bringing 3 reports from highly qualified professionals who all said JJ was kindergarten ready, they didn't want him to be mainstreamed with his non-disabled peers. Fortunately, IDEA, then I could dig my heels in and say, no, this is his own school, he's coming here. If Donald Trump gets his way and cuts special education funding, and he almost succeeded to funding the Special Olympics, and if he continues to chip away at the carefully crafted laws designed to protect vulnerable students, just like JJ, then eventually the next JJ won't be able to enroll in AP and honours classes as he is, or the next JJ won't be elected president of their middle school as JJ was. And FYI, Donald, JJ didn't try and get dirt on any of his opponents in his election. He won fair and square, no collusion. Anyway, JJ's anxious to speak, so I want to finish by saying the commissioners in my county wouldn't fly the pride flag as they said Seminole County isn't ready for that. You know what I say? Buckle up, Seminole County GOP, and buckle up, Florida Republicans, because ready or not, here we come for
to all you nasty women. And hola to all the bad hombres. My name is J. Holmes, A. Florida. In 2016 we screwed up, bigly. We've got to get it right in November 2020. And because I'm too young to vote, I'm counting on every one of you to force Donald to go on permanent executive time back in Trump Tower. I have cerebral palsy from lack of oxygen when I was born, and in 2015, after watching candidate Trump mock someone with a disability, I decided to become an activist. I am so ashamed that the President of the United States thinks it's funny to mock someone with a disability. The first protest I went to was really wild. I went to a Trump rally just before the 2016 election. I thought Trump probably wouldn't even notice me. But I still wanted to go and protest. Trump did see me. He laughed about how quiet my protest was and ordered security to kick me out. It was totally awesome. The next day I got to meet President Obama in Kissimmee after he heard about how the Trump supporters shook me in my wheelchair and kicked my mom as we were being led out of the rally. #thanks Obama. I thought my activism would be over on November 8, 2016, and I was shocked when Trump won. The day after the inauguration, I went to the Women's March in D.C., and Donald J. Trump has kept me pretty busy ever since. I protested at Orlando Airport against the Muslim ban. I've marched to save healthcare. I joined a staged die-in outside Senator Marco Rubio's Orlando office. And I've also protested there on Tuesdays with the Orlando Resistance when I'm not in school. I've protested against Rick Scott refusing to take Medicaid expansion for the 1 million Floridians in the healthcare coverage gap. I joined the tax march. I marched for truth and marched for our lives. In fact, I've marched so much that if I wasn't in a wheelchair, then I'd probably need to buy a new pair of shoes every week. I can't wait until 2022, when I'll be old enough to vote out the champion of the NRA, Marco Rubio. And then the one I'll really enjoy giving a pink slip to in 2024 is Oil Slick Red Tydrick. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And now I'm heading over to the Amway Arena to let Donald know that it was Mexico that paid for the baby Trump balloon.
Wow. Thank you, JJ. Thank you. Let's hear it. Yes, JJ. Wow. Incredible. So I hope you aren't tired yet because we're just getting started. We could not come to Paramore on the eve of Juneteenth right here in Orlando without hearing from people of color who face daily affronts and attacks from this administration. So it is my extreme honor and pleasure to welcome to the stage Senator and Civil Rights Champion Geraldine Thompson and Danny Adams of Dream Defenders.
Hello! I represent House District 44 in Tallahassee. And when I go to work in Tallahassee, I see a lot of trends there where people are taking their marching orders from number 45. And I'm concerned. Some of the trends that I see are attacking traditional public schools and giving money to experimental schools where there is no accountability. You know, when I grew up in South Dade, Florida, I rode a bus to high school. And I remember passing two high schools on the way to the one school that would give education to African Americans in South Dade County. It was apartheid in America. And number 44 wants to take us back. He has Betsy DeVos as his Secretary of Education. He wants to take us back and see our schools resegregated. We're losing ground. You know, the Civil Rights Act was passed a couple of years before I graduated from high school and enrolled in college. When I went to college, it was the first time I had ever studied in a racially integrated environment. But we're seeing our schools resegregated today under 45. America has changed, but he wants to take us back. He wants to take us back with vouchers. He wants to take us back by disenfranchising people who made a mistake, finished their sentence, paid their debt to society, but they can't vote in Florida now. 1.4 million that you all voted to say that they could have their voting rights restored. They can't vote unless they make enough money to put food on the table and a roof over their head. And even though they're making payments, if they haven't completed restitution, fines, and fees, they can't vote. He wants to take us back. And we are on the eve of Juneteenth. It's June 19th, 1865, after the Civil War, when the last enslaved people learned of emancipation and learned of their freedom in Galveston, Texas. And so we celebrate Juneteenth because until all of us are free, none of us are free. He wants to take us back because he says when white nationalists riot and kill an innocent woman, that they are good people. They're good people on both sides. He wants to take us back. He wants to take us back by putting a citizenship question on the census. So we have voter suppression in Tallahassee and voter suppression with number 45. He wants to take us back. He's calling the land of the origin of many people who've immigrated to this country S-hole countries. He wants to take us back. It's an insult. It's an insult. Yes, he is the S-hole. He is the S-hole. And he wants to take us back. He says to African Americans, like the community where we stand today, that your schools are no good, you have no jobs, your families are broken. I want you to support me. And he asks, what do you have to lose? Well, we have the Affordable Care Act to lose. We have quality public education to lose. We have justice, equality, and fairness for everyone to lose. That's what we have to lose. And this is from a man who has no record of hiring anyone who doesn't look like him. Just look at his cabinet if you don't believe me. Look at his cabinet. And he asked us, what do you have to lose? Now, I'm here to tell you we need a course correction. Freedom is never final, and it's never free. We have to work for it. We have to guard it. We have to sustain it in every generation. So in 2020, we've got to guard our freedoms. We need a course correction. We need to dump Trump in 2020.
everybody. I can't hear y'all. Hey, everybody. My name is Danielle. I am from Sanford, Florida. I am the Central Florida Regional Organizer for Dream Defenders. Dream Defenders are organizers that are working to build a multiracial political bloc throughout the state of Florida through organizing. We want to see a new Florida that provides safety and security away from police and prisons and more towards healthcare, job, movement for all, housing. We deserve that. Our state invests more money into privatized prisons than they do paying our teachers a livable wage. I'm here to tell you, Central Florida, we deserve our freedom papers. Why can't we celebrate the waitress? Why can't we celebrate the busboy? Why can't we celebrate the mothers who take care of our children? Florida, it's time we get our freedom papers. We deserve livable wages. Black and brown people deserve to walk through their communities and feel safe. A senior citizen should not have to decide between their medication and their food. If corporations can cross the border, so can people. This state was built off the backs of our backs. It was built off our backs. We built this state. So we deserve freedom. Florida, it's time we got our freedom papers. Freedom from poverty. Freedom to have movement in the state of Florida. Florida, we deserve better. We deserve better than DeSantis. We deserve better than Trump. This is our home. This is our home. This is our home. We will not have hate in our home. If you believe in the vision of Dream Defenders and the freedom papers, please collect and come talk to those folks in the gray shirts. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so this is personal for me. In the hours after June 12, 2016, this state wrapped its arms around the LGBTQ community, and it became our identity that we were united in love. You see rainbow flags everywhere. We're outside Stonewall. So it is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome my friends and my mentors, Gina Duncan, Chris Aponte, and our very own Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith.
Hello, my fellow Floridians! I am so proud to be standing up here with my transgender and non-binary siblings saying, we have had enough. Thank you for coming out and honoring the 49 with action. For standing up and fighting back against an administration that thinks we can be divided, thinks we can be legislated out of existence, and thinks that we can be erased. Well, guess what? We won't be erased. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. Our transgender community, as we know, is blatantly under attack. From the transgender military ban to rolling back protections in our schools, in healthcare, and now most heinously, rolling back protections in homeless shelters. In homeless shelters. We are seeing, my friends, discrimination in plain sight. But we must not be deterred. We must stand together shoulder and shoulder. We must not be discouraged. We must push back against the hate and the division. We know we are stronger together. We know we are Orlando united. We know we are Florida united. You know, over 2 million transgender Americans get up every day and go about their lives. 2 million transgender Americans simply want to carve out their own personal piece of the American dream, to provide for their family, to have a good job, to raise a family without discrimination and without violence. I acknowledge, my friends, that these are difficult times. I agree that our democracy is in peril to a corrupt administration on a mission to erase our diversity and our equality. But we will not go back. We will not retreat into the closet. We will not live in the shadows. We will fight for an America that we once knew. We will stand up and fight back. What do? We will stand up and fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up and fight back. And finally, in the words of my favorite president, Barack Obama, not this racist, lying oligarch wannabe down the street, but Barack Obama who said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Vote blue in 2020. Thank you.
Hello, Orlando! My name is Christian, and I'm a Latino transgender man. From July 2017, when Trump first announced the military transgender ban, it has been a back and forth battle on transgender rights. A decision that has affected my whole life and career. I was a senior in high school getting ready to graduate and enlist in the Navy, only to be told that I was not allowed to serve my country. My country! I had no backup plan whatsoever. I didn't apply to any colleges or scholarships due to the fact that I had my heart set on serving my country. At 18, I needed to figure out a whole new plan for my future. This ban does not only affect me, it affects all the thousands of transgender soldiers that are serving right now and the thousands of transgender youth that want to serve. Tens of thousands. Banning me from serving my country is only the first step of stripping the LGBT community of our rights. We, the United City of Orlando, need to protect our rights, not only for us, but for the generations to come after us. Vote blue and stay united.
One more time for Chris. How proud of him are you? How you doing, Orlando?